What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be doing one of our favorite videos we've done on our own cars, which is a practicality test. So we have the C8 Corvette and the C7 Corvette. Both cars are provided by Carolina Auto Direct, so a big shout out to them for providing both cars for today's video. We'll have them linked down in the description to check out their inventory. So we have some items we're going to fit in the trunks to see how well they work, and then we're going to do the interior, ground clearance, and some visibility tests to see which one is more practical. So let's start with the trunks, which both of them have a trunk in the back.
And we even have a release for it, so you don't even have to grab your key fob, which makes it even that much more practical. You don't have to grab your key fob, you can easily open this up and grab any items.
So ease of entry, both get a point for that.
Yep.
Now this car actually has a whole engine in the trunk too, which is kind of crazy.
And
but
one thing that Chevrolet really, what did they do, heavily state is that even though this is mid-engine, you can fit 2 golf bags in the back.
And I have a strong suspicion Corvette owners probably go golfing.
And so this is a huge selling point. So with 1 golf bag, hey, you know, that actually could work.
I did notice the Z51 wing is a little in the way, but nonetheless it's working.
It is doable. Now, I could probably rearrange these a little bit differently, but I do like the fact that in most trunk spaces, sports cars, you usually have to take out the driver or a couple clubs because of the width of it.
That fit fine. And it has soft close, so if we just latch it down,
so we can easily test it.
Well, that worked.
So that is a point for the Vet.
Now we got, well, they're both Vets.
Well, yeah, okay, for the C8.
Now, the only downfall is there is no more room in the rear trunk. So to fit this backpack and this luggage, do you think that's gonna fit up front?
It's actually a pretty deep compartment, but you don't even have to use the key fob, which is great.
We do have buttons on the key fob for both front and rear trunks, but there's another one right there. And then we can open up this. Ooh.
No. Can you go sideways?
Okay, that one fit. I'm actually impressed. Wow.
That's actually...
And that's, I think it's got soft close, but yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
I was not expecting that.
That is pretty cool.
All right, well, C8 Corvette, you can fit 2 golf bags, luggage, and a backpack. So 2 people going in this mid-engine sports car. You can go to the golf range and traveling.
Now on to the C7, and the reason that we're doing this is because people who want a fun sports car also want it to be practical, so that way you can drive it every single day, and it's not just that weekend type of vehicle. Especially with us, we love having the practicality best of both worlds, where you can do that. So,
now this is a much larger area,
but it's also very shallow.
Yeah,
I would say.
They clearly fit.
Because this isn't tall, but it's pretty bulky, to be honest. It might have to go just like that. And that actually might work.
Definitely fits.
Huh? Yeah.
And it's got soft close as well?
Yeah, it does. And you can see there's a lot more space.
There's so much volume in the back of the C7.
Oh yeah.
Well, both Corvettes, guys, a weekend golf trip, they are good.
So on to our interior practicality test now. When you're in a sports car, it's nice to have usable interior storage. While we have the back area there, you want to be able to put any items that you have with you for the day in a nice spot. So like your phone, the key fob, you may have some kind of drink, and your sunglasses if it's a nice day. So in the C7 here, we do have 2 cup holders, and for what I would say is a normal sized drink, we have plenty of room for that. You do have the center armrest here that is pretty thin, but you could place your phone there or your key fob. I don't think my sunglasses would fit in there necessarily, just depending on the size, but you do have some storage down in the door sill here, or the door panel. While that may not be ideal, it's a safe place for them. So we don't have a traditional sunglass holder, but you do have a lot of practicality in the C7. Onto the C8 now. We're using the same items, of course. We have the same flip-up tray for the water bottles, and being a Corvette like the C7, they're going to be very identical. We have the center armrest here, which is actually a little bit deeper, so I could probably even fit my sunglasses down in here and still have plenty of room. You'll see on the door panel too, we have a little bit more storage going all the way to the back. So they are pretty similar, but the C8 seems to have a lot more interior storage.
All right, so number 3 on the list for testing out practicality, we're gonna back this car into a parking space to kind of get an idea of the visual that you see inside when driving, and of course backup camera, rear visibility, things like that, because you know we gotta park these cars at some point, so you gotta be able to park it easily. So we have a pretty good view out the front and quite a lot of glass, basically all here is a lot of glass. The C-pillar area is a little big, Going into reverse, you do get a backup camera on this. And looking at the mirrors, I can pretty easily see around this car. My left spot over here is a little tight, but nonetheless pretty good. I think I am in the spot nicely, and I'm perfectly next to the truck there. Backup camera works and everything, and it's pretty easy to gauge where the car is. I can see the front corners with how big the hood is, and the back end I can actually see the spoiler. So practicality for the C7 as far as backing into places and visual visibility, things like that, I don't see an issue. You get some wheel chop up front, but nonetheless, C7's pretty darn good. So onto the C8 now. So both cars do get push start, so as far as just kind of that ease of use, that's nice to see. Visibility in this is a lot different. I can still see the fender arches, which is great for a sports car. The hood is so much shorter, so that is a huge difference. And then like the other one, you have a lot of glass all around you, giving you amazing front end view. The rear is way worse than the C7 because we have an engine back there, so it's not quite as good, but we do get the LCD camera, so it kind of makes up for it. So it'll be interesting to see how well this backs up. We will crank it and back it in. The gear selector is much different with these buttons. However, we have a ton of different camera views, so we can really dial that in. I can't see much over my right shoulder, but the mirror looks like it's a little bit bigger. So I would say they're almost the same, just because this is a little bit worse looking over my right shoulder, but we have a more HD camera with guidelines on it that change. We have a 360 camera view. We can see the front, all sorts of different camera angles. So I kind of give them an equal score just because we have more technology in this car with the cameras, even though it's actually worse. Over my left shoulder it seems a little bit better.
All right, so our next test is going to be pulling out onto the road where we have a pretty steep embankment here, and we are going to be testing ground clearance, because if you're driving this every single day, obviously that is important, and we're going to get that outside view where I'm coming in at an angle here. We're probably really good because this does have a good amount of ground clearance, but I bet you that was nothing. From the outside it probably looked like a good bit there. And along with that is the 3-point turn. Both of these are rear wheel drive, so we should be able to do this fairly easily. And with the backup camera there, I'm impressed. I love the fact that we have the mirror there too, where you can see pretty much everything behind you. And then we'll drive right back into this, right at an angle. And yeah, so from the outside, I'll see what Brian thinks, but that was pretty easy. And now as we do the same test in the C7, one thing that I forgot to mention is that the C8 has the optional front end lift to give you even more clearance up front. I don't believe any C7 ever offered that option, so that even makes it more practical, just depending on the articulation and the entrances that you're getting in and out of. So the C7 should have done that just as easily as the C8. They should have very similar ground clearance. And now as we do the 3-point turnaround, I do like the camera system in the C8. This is a little bit more narrow. There we go. I'll try to go back just like I did. And yeah, with the torque converter, it doesn't roll back as much. I still think the C8 has more of a tighter turning radius. And then back up we go. No problems.
All right, so I think those are all the tests we were gonna throw at the two Corvettes. Honestly, it seems like they're exactly the same as far as the practicality.
Yeah, I mean, for being a mid-engine car now, the first ever for the Corvette, they did a really good job at all of the interior space, along with having the space behind the engine too.
Yeah.
So you can daily drive this. This could be your only vehicle, and you can pack in a lot, which is awesome to see. For a sports car, definitely something that handles well at the same time.
It's nice that the C7, while it has a larger trunk in one spot for a lot of items altogether, the C8's front trunk helps out. Now the C7 could have fit more stuff in it compared to the C8 though, so it does have a plus there.
Yeah.
The C8 though, the interior, like the driver and passenger area, there's a little bit more space there. Very impressive. Ground clearance was identical, turning radius pretty much identical. That's a user error on depending on if you can, you know,
it
do
rolled
the
back a little bit. Yeah.
The dual clutch might take a little bit getting used to versus the torque converter.
Yeah.
But
I do like how the C8 turned around better. Yeah.
The cameras definitely help. But I think that's it. A little comparison of practicality with the two Corvettes. So if you're looking for a Corvette in today's market and practicality is something you're considering and is important to you, which it probably is, both can take the golf clubs and everything else, and they're just easy to drive. So I think that's it then. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and check out Carolina Auto Direct. Big thanks to them for lending us both of these Corvettes for today's video. So anyways, we'll see you guys in the next video.